Welcome, everyone. Our webinar today is called Leading with Heart and Mind. And if you're here, you likely expressed interest in either the EDD or MA program in leadership and coaching. My name is Karen, and I'll be the host today. So first of all, just introduce MIU. Generally speaking, it's a beautiful, intentional community that was brought together around consciousness-based practices like transcendental meditation. And it was also developed around a passionate group of young people that wanted to create a new kind of university, one that really attended to self-development and also with a strong conscience towards improving community and social and national levels of wellness. And the whole approach is consciousness based. And consciousness has a lot of different meanings. Usually you might think of awareness or self-awareness. But our paradigm also includes this understanding that consciousness is a field of intelligence, of creative intelligence at the basis of life, and that by developing our own awareness and tuning into our own consciousness, we're actually also enlivening a field of consciousness that connects all of us. So the more we're connecting to our self through meditation, the more we're tuning into the general environment. And so taking care of oneself is also taking care of everyone. So we want to give you some points about consciousness because in any degree program housed by MIU, there is this paradigm informing how we connect the knowledge with a paradigm of understanding. So a couple points to highlight is that everyone learns this technique called transcendental meditation. Not all meditation types are equal. They affect the brain differently. And this particular technique specifically is wonderful for efficiently allowing the awareness to settle so that one can experience the source of thought, which we call consciousness. Along with this, you'll see that in time, naturally, when you tend to the self in this way, there's a natural interest towards health and wellness. So naturally, over time, there was more and more programs dedicated just to health and wellness. There's a full scale program for that. But today we're really interested in this coaching and leadership program. And so this really fits in with this ethos of a university culture with heart and a community of people who really care. Because naturally, when you start taking better care of yourself, it naturally extends towards others as well. So today we have a wonderful lineup of professors and students. So we're going to have a very rich conversation so you can get a sense of the community. But just wanted to also mention that MIU is an accredited nonprofit university accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, and financial aid is available. So you can complete your FAFSA and you can use the financial aid calculator. It takes a few seconds to get an estimate. You can see how much you qualify for. Today's webinar, we're going to get an overview of both the EDD and MA programs. You'll also get to hear from students and their experience. And then you're going to also understand the role of emergence in consciousness-based education. So we'll have two faculty, Dr. Mike Zval, and then we'll also have Dr. Vicki Alexander Harriet. Okay, so let's meet our panelists. And I'm going to have Dr. Mike Zval actually start us off. He'll be introducing the programs, and then he'll hand it off to the student panelists and maybe Dr. Vicki as well. So Dr. Mike, thank you for joining us today. And please tell us who you are and a little bit more about your program.
Thank you very much, Karen, and I'm so glad to have you all here. Um, this is so exciting. It's exciting to talk to you, and I know some of you are going to be here in the fall with us. So that's just so wonderful. And we have, one of the main things I wanted from this to do this was to have you hear from four of our students, because anything I say is, well, that's a faculty member saying it, but they hear from the students what their experience has been, what this is really, I think, the most exciting and educational part about it. Just a little bit of background about the programs. These are relatively new to MIU, but they're not new. I actually co-founded the Wright Graduate University for the Realization of Human Potential. in 2008, and we had this master's degree and the EDD since then. So it's, so almost 17 years at this point. Um, when we closed the university for financial reasons in 2023, MIU was kind enough to help us, complete our students, but we started the EDD in the fall of 2023. We now have 11 students in the second year and 25 in the first year. And you have two second-year students and two first-year students here, so you really get a feel for the program. Couple quick things about it. There's not much time to do this, but there's plenty of time. And by the way, I'm happy to talk to any of you. You have access to me and do a Zoom call, and happy to talk to you and give you more information. But the key core concept about what we're doing is called emergence. And that is about you continuing to evolve into the most you can be. And that's going to be different for every person. And not only is it about you emerging, but it's about you helping the people that you serve and coach and lead, helping them emerge also. Because this is sort of core to both leadership and to helping everybody be as human as they can be, which is what we're all about. When we brought it into MIU, the integration of emergence with the science of creative intelligence and the commonality of increasing the flow of our creative intelligence, which is absolutely core to all of MIU and core to what we do. And one of the main vehicles for this is coaching. And in both the master's degree and the EDD, we have integrated an ICF accredited coach training program. So anybody who wants to get an ICF credential, this is a pathway to do that in both the master's degree and the EDD. In both programs, you get coached every other week. You have what we call an EQ lab, which is emotional intelligence lab every Saturday. So you are really working to develop yourself throughout the whole program. And obviously, one of the big differences is that the EDD is really centered, certainly in the second and third years, on doing a dissertation, doing a project where you're taking what you've been learning and applying it to your world, doing something that's going to take your world further as you're learning and growing and helping others. So 18 months for the master's degree, 2.5 to 3 years for the doctorate. It's called an accelerated EDD program. So instead of it taking 7 years, we're getting it done much quicker for you. You're all ready for the EDD, but I'm not going to talk much more now because I really want to hear from our students. So let's turn it over to, whichever one of you wants to start first and talk about what your experience has been in the EDD program.
Wow, they all look pretty primed, but I don't know. I'm looking at Marche. Are you ready? Okay.
That's interesting because I was taking myself off mute. Okay, this is going to sound a little hokey. I don't mean it to, but joining this program has really changed my life. It's changed my life because I have allowed it to. With this program, I was already on a journey of self-discovery, really going deep, really knowing more about myself, because I wanted to be better. I wanted to become better. And what that looked like, I had no idea. But when I came across this program, which I was elated, I mean, dancing, I was extremely excited. And when I read and understood more about what the program had to offer, I understood that it was about me, understanding me, emerging into my best, whatever that was. And even when you say best, I don't mean it like I'm just going to be great all the time. I'm just understanding me in any situation. So so yeah, when I'm getting off track, but this has really changed who I have become who I'm becoming and allowed me to understand who I am even more and not be afraid of what was the past because all of that has come to make me who I am. Um, so yeah,
Perfect. I
thank
think
you.
that was right on point. And Natasha, did you want to respond to that or
Yes,
add?
so
Okay.
I am a career coach for IT professionals at MIU. And I'm also an instructor for a career strategy workshop. How I heard about the program through my colleague, and he just mentioned that he's in this amazing EDD program that was just brought to MIU, and he's absolutely blown how wonderful it is. And I'm like, tell me more. Because I am already, full-time job. I'm also a proud mother of 3 young children. I'm like, yeah, sure. I have some spare time. Why not? And the more he spoke, the more I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need to take my understanding. How can I help serve people, coach people with this knowledge that he was mentioning? And I took courage. I made time, which was not easy. Had to have some serious negotiation with my husband, who was at the beginning not super thrilled. Actually, thinking that wow. But it's all doable, by the way. If you're there and you think, how I'm gonna pull this off, it's possible. I have full-time job. And as I mentioned, I have kids. It's evening, weekends, Saturdays, mornings, and the load is pretty manageable. So if you really structure your time well, you will be able to succeed and thrive in this program. And it's been a wonderful journey so far, very deep. Just as Marche, I took a deep dive into myself, understanding myself, and by extension, understanding others. And it elevated my ability to help and serve my students. My husband actually is also reaping some fruits now, because it affects everything, right? No matter where we go, we bring ourselves. So yes, I cannot be more happy that I stumbled upon it and I took a courage and time to take it. And it's been an amazing journey, and I'm looking forward to continue it.
Thank you so much for addressing how you fit that into a busy work schedule. I noticed on the website you claim that it's very much something you can integrate for full working professionals. So thank you for addressing that point. Super practical. And yeah, Dan, go for it. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you were drawn to the program, and then add anything you think is relevant. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, I believe in helping other people be more of who they naturally are so that together we can unfold our full potential. And that's exactly what this program does. And Mike spoke about it, and you, Karen, spoke about it already, that this combination of Maharishi's technologies of consciousness and the science of creative intelligence and emergence, the complementary relationship between those two is exceedingly powerful. To talk about my personal experience of the program, I was thinking about what I was going to say in this webinar, think about what I was going to talk about to all of you, and I was thinking about this analogy where if you've got a deeply rooted weed, let's say, which is going to be analogous for a deeply rooted stress. And if you want to pull that weed out, what you might do is you might dig around it. You dig around the weed, and it makes it easier for you to then remove that weed. And that's what I believe transcendental meditation does. It creates the capacity for you to remove stress. But sometimes there are some very, very, very deeply rooted stresses that aren't quite so easy to pull out, even once you've created that space. And so that's where I think this emergence coaching and the EQ lab and all the things that we've been working on in this program help give that final pull to what Maharishi calls these deep-rooted stresses. And And I hope that analogy was clear, but that's been my experience, is that TM, and this is what I'm writing my dissertation about actually, is that TM gives you the capacity, the space for you to, as everyone else has been saying, for you to really dive deep and look at aspects of yourself and unfold your full potential and become more authentically you.
Okay, you dropped a term there, EQ Lab, and I know Dr. Mike pointed to that as well. Can you
Yeah.
explain a little bit more about that?
Sure. So EQ Lab, EQ is emotional intelligence. I'm sure everyone's familiar with IQ, which is a measure of intelligence in general. EQ is more about your emotional intelligence, and this is one of the main things that drew me to this program as well. I've been interested in emotional intelligence for a long time. Anyone that's heard of Daniel Goleman, for example, has written a lot about emotional intelligence and how it's, excuse me, how it's actually more necessary. It's more effective in leadership, in management, in just generally unfolding your full potential. And so this program, every week, we get together and we put our attention, we put our awareness on developing our emotional intelligence. It's an exceedingly broad, it's a class, but it's a very broad class because it's very much about every individual's own personal work. And so it's quite hard for me to describe to you what an EQ Lab is like, other than I personally have found them very evolutionary, I would say. It's a real chance for you to maybe look at aspects of yourself that were maybe a little bit uncomfortable for you to look at, but by looking at them and bringing them into the light, you grow so much as a person as a result of that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's gives us a really good sense of the EQ Lab. Plus, you also really help to expand upon the transcendental meditation model. You meditate to uproot stresses and make it possible, but that it's really helpful to have a program like this, a coaching practice that really helps you address the deeply rooted stresses, and to do that in community with specific methodologies. So I hope to the people who have joined us today that you got a taste of some of the classes. I know there was an interest in understanding what you're learning. So you'll notice that Dan used also concepts from transcendental meditation. And when you learn TM, you're going to pick up on more of those frameworks. So we'll move to Stephanie, and then Stephanie, please introduce yourself and tell us what drew you to this program, and maybe fill in if we have not touched on any specific points.
Yeah. Hi,
yeah,
everyone.
welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Stephanie Bestie, and I actually live in Colorado, and I attend the program online, and I've had the ability to go actually to Fairfield quite a few times now to be able to meet all of my cohort in person. And I'm thinking back to like when this program was introduced and why I even was interested in it. I work in donor relations and community impact, and I thought I was like propelling in my career. I thought I was like on the path. I had all these amazing skills, and I received an email, and Vicki Alexander Harriet is here, and I actually received a little push from her because I knew her from my master's in conflict resolution, and it was not at the best time in my life. And I say that because my husband had been in a pretty severe accident. I was his full-time caretaker. I was working full-time. I still am. I'm a mother of a young son. And I thought, there's no way I can add this. Like, what is she thinking? And then I thought immediately, it was this immediate gut instinct of there were some skills underneath that I knew every day I didn't have. And it was like, knowing that there was still these elements of myself that I knew deep down that this program was going to, like Dan mentioned, the weeds. I had a whole garden of like noxious weeds that needed to be attended to. And yet, through this, Natasha, Marche, Dan have highlighted the incredible impact if you're willing to just kind of take a look at yourself and where you stand in the world and how emotions can affect that, how the interactions with others every day, how you get this opportunity to understand it as a contextual text, textbook material learning, but then also use that experience firsthand to be able to say, oh, well, I have this one assignment. What am I going to learn about myself? Am I going to take this on? And so it just gives you this ability to be able to say, I want to grow. I want to continue to emerge. I want to continue to look forward to other opportunities in the world that probably wouldn't have presented itself because of holding myself back. So I hope
Thank
that
you.
helps fill in the
That-
gaps.
Very much so. Thank you so much for a very personal and heartfelt account why you came into this program. And I'm glad Dr. Vicky had a positive influence on that process. I know we want to get to Dr. Vicky as well. I just noticed there's two questions that seem still kind of related to the topic at hand. I wonder if we should take them first. One is from Adrian. She says, is there a trauma-informed perspective of the lessons and the EQ lab? Dr. Mike, do you want to take that or do you want to pass it off to?
Sure, sure. We have a number of students who have experienced early trauma in their lives. And so the subject has come up a fair amount. Our focus is on who you're becoming. And we actually use this term emergent direction, from what to what. So all of us have adapted to our early childhoods, and we develop this sense of who we are and what happened to us and the beliefs that we have, that is where the come from is. And sort of out of that come from goes the towards what? Okay, towards our becoming. So our focus is always on consciousness and becoming. And interesting, you actually scoop up the healing from the past as you go forward. So we don't focus primarily on trauma. We look at, by the way, every human being who is alive and functioning is that we've learned to adapt to whatever happened to us. And we're not about saying any way you adapted is wrong. Think of it as tools in your tool chest. What we want to do is we want to add more tools to your tool chest. So you have more and more choices, and you can expand your creative intelligence and the flow of it so that you can be fully present in the present moment and have the most magnificent life and the most meaningful life and make the greatest contribution you can to your world.
Thank you so
So-
much for that. And there is another interesting question. As you're learning these programs and coaching practices, are you also able to lead non-TM clients and practitioners? Or is there a component where they first need to learn TM first?
Vicky, how would you like to answer that one?
Well, I think the question, if I understand it correctly, was whether our clients had to start TM. And certainly we find that we may have clients who meditate, but we also have clients who don't. And so it's not a requirement for our coaching clients that they start TM. But for all of us students and faculty in the program, we do practice TM.
Actually, I'd like to add, we want you to have clients who don't know TM, who aren't going to learn TM, because we want you to have a whole range of clients. We want you to learn how to coach all kinds of people. This is not about being restrictive. It's about learning the skills of, there's a phrase that we use, which is that every human being wants to be accurately seen in the here and now with positive regard consistently and unconditionally. And that's it, it is us being with them so that they can be with themselves. We're not pushing anything in coaching. You don't push at all. You are inviting. It's a means of the approach is one of permission rather than telling people. It's asking. But Vicky, I would love for you to speak some about, so Vicky has been at MIU for what, 40 plus years, and has been faculty and has been, very, very deeply involved with TM and, New Maharishi Mahesh Yogi for decades. And I think people would be very interested to hear how you see the relationship between transcendence and what the Maharishi has been, was teaching for all these years and bringing millions of people into TM, and what our program is in Emergence.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I have a dual role in this program because I was very enthusiastic when I first met Mike and faculty from the Wright Graduate University, and thought, well, this is great. We should bring an EDD into MIU. It's just what we need. I had started a master's program in leadership and conflict resolution, which Stephanie and Dan were both students in. And I wanted to have a bigger coaching component. We had one coaching class, but I wanted to bring in more coaching. So I saw this as a great opportunity for that to happen. And then as I started joining them to kind of add the consciousness component, because they were all new meditators, to the curriculum, I realized I do have a law degree. I have a master's specialization in law and taxation, but I don't have an EDD. I shouldn't be teaching this program. I should be taking it. So I became a student, and I'm a classmate of Dan and Stephanie in the first year cohort, which I'm really enjoying and experiencing the same kind of growth that they've been describing. But I also have the great joy of being a faculty member for the new cohort. So Marche is part of, and Natasha are part of that cohort. So I'm really steeped in this program from morning till night, basically. And it's been a wonderful addition to the university. I wanted to just kind of point out, you see on the screen, our logo is a tree, the tree of knowledge. And I think it's a good way to describe what we're doing in our program. TM, Marcy always said the nature of life is to grow. And what we do with TM is water the root. We water the most foundational aspects of ourselves. We get an opportunity to transcend our daily activity, get very deep rest, and the stresses that we accumulate during the day are released in that practice. And I know some of you, I could see from the chat, are already TM practitioners. I saw Brent Kahn said he'd started in October and hadn't missed a meditation yet. Good job. And that's because it brings value, and we get that great rest, sense of ourself, knowing who we are on a more expanded level. But what we're doing in the Emergence coaching programs we're kind of polishing the leaves of that tree. Sometimes a tree needs to be pruned. You may think leaves don't need to be polished, but they actually do. They get dusty, they need to be polished. So that's what's happening with Emergence. On the basis of that deep experience we have in TM, as Dan said, it gives us the space to release stress. But now we're kind of refining how we interact with the world. One of our students said, TM helps me understand who I am and relate to myself. And as everybody has said here, that also happens with Emergence coaching. But she found with Emergence coaching that it was also helping her relate better to the people in her environment. We've talked a lot about self-growth in this program, and that's absolutely true. But the more we are comfortable with ourselves, the more familiar we are with our own challenges, the easier it is for us to relate to other people. So this is a program that absolutely supports growth for both the individual and Natasha mentioned, the people in her environment also are benefiting from the growth that goes on. And I know that Stephanie and Marche and Dan would all agree with that. Everybody's spouses and significant others are very happy that they've started the program. So I think with that, I'd just like to open it up to any more questions that anybody might have.
Yeah, so if there's another question, we can probably take another one or two, but I also wanted to ask Dr. Mike, could you explain a little bit about the structure? Like how many classes are there or how long is each class, that sort of thing?
Sure. So,
Yeah.
so how this works on a sort of like weekly basis. So MIU operates by what are called blocks. So every month, every 4 weeks is a separate block, except there are two-week blocks, but that's just a different thing. I'll talk about that. So most courses you're on one course at a time. And of course, most courses last 4 weeks. And you meet for 2 nights a week for 2 hours. One of our years is Monday, Wednesday, another one is Tuesday, Thursday. And both the masters and the EDD are going to be operating that way. And there's a 2 hour, what we call the EQ lab, which you've heard about, on Saturdays. So there's essentially 6 hours of contact time. You will have in the master's program, there are 5 blocks of coaching. There's 5 months of coaching. In the EDD, there are 6 blocks of coaching. And you're coached over the whole program or the whole classroom. So for the 18 months for the masters and for 2 years for the EDD. When you're in the coaching classes, you are going to be coaching people yourself. So it is a very practical approach where you're learning the skills of coaching. And by the way, one of the ways that coaching works is my job as a coach is to get to know you and to help you become who you want to become, which, by the way, is the core to leadership as well. So if you want to be an effective leader, your ability to listen to people, to hear people, to know what it is they want, to encourage them to be themselves is one of the most important skills you're going to get. There are different courses in the master's degree for leadership. So courses include, there's a course in mediation, communication, leadership and management, teamwork, and so on. So there are courses that are specifically designed around listening skills as well as the skills of communication in leadership. In the EDD, there are different courses about leadership. There's a course in systems. There's a course in organizational change. And then on the EDD in the second year, a lot of the courses are focused on how you do doctoral research, and then putting together in the second year, actually developing your proposal for your dissertation, which begins after the second year. So it's by the way, there is very little lecture in this program. I don't really believe in lecturing very much. I believe in people having good readings and then hearing from the students and then referring back and underlining with the students. So it's very high participation, very low. And by the way, a lot of online courses are what are called asynchronous. That is, you're just like watching a class. Ours are all synchronous. That means you are together with the students, together with the faculty, and we're working together. So that it's very much developing a cohort. I'm sure all of our students will say will talk about the closeness that they are experiencing with each other.
Are there optional classes or extra classes?
Pretty much the program is a defined set of courses. So there's no, I mean, of course, you can take more courses at MIU, but the program is a whole, and the courses build on each other. So that you're I know I've been at you, it almost doesn't work to like say, well, I've taken that already, because you're with your cohort. And that cohort relationship is very important.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question. I got one from Brent.
Can I add
Con.
something to that? So,
Go for it.
Dr. Mike, I just wanted to add something that you touched upon, that it's not much of a lecturing, and this is a very important point, because I was already a professional, working professional, and even though it is academic program, it's accredited, you will get your academic degree, it's very practical and hands-on. So you're gonna get skills, tools as you go, and basically from first block, you can start applying them. Dan touched something a little bit about EQ labs, and Stephanie mentioned assignments. So you jump into EQ lab pretty much first week of your block, and you are given assignments. Those are small things. I'm going to give you an example so you understand how they might look. Like, for example, my first assignment was one of the first, experiencing my feelings every 3 to 4 minutes. Maybe I'm not phrasing it correctly, but basically what I did, every 3 to 4 minutes, I would just check in with myself and identify what I feel. And that in itself was such a transformation. In the first week of the block, that actually it set the tone, and I was building on it with other assignments, but I still use it actually quite a lot. And it helped me very practically during my meetings, during conflict resolution, during my teaching. Everything was affected basically in the first week of this program. So this hands-on practical spirit of it, I love it.
All right, thank you
There's
for
a
that.
question. Oh,
Mhm.
Marcia, you want to say something?
So I wanted to speak to it was a previous question concerning trauma informed. I am a trauma informed clinician at the North Las Vegas Corrections, and what I can say about this program is it's absolutely trauma informed. I've learned so much, not only about the way that I approach things, trauma informed, but the way that I believe Vicky said it, Natasha said it, Dan said it, Stephanie said it. This has changed everything about the way that I interact with the offenders at the correctional facility. Now, mind you, I'm a clinician, so I already understand about operating from a trauma-informed lens. However, what this program has changed for me is as a clinician, I'm told and taught, don't put yourself, don't be familiar, or don't get too wrapped up in, well, can't be too empathetic, really. Okay, so and I'm in a jail, but I will say I have opened up, and I've been able to really get the offenders to open up and really just emerge in a jail, in a place where, I mean, I'm talking grown men sobbing and really just really wanting to dig deeper and understand their feelings and talk about their it's been
Wow.
so wild. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to jump in there and say
Perfect.
that about
Yeah.
that.
I'm so glad you did. I in some ways, I think that helps with another question too. I mean, we have to close our webinar, but I can feel we're just getting into it. But I think this is an important one. Someone's asking, who's the ideal client for an emergent coach. And oh,
Well,
go ahead, Marcia. Yeah, for Dr. Mike. Yeah.
I'll answer that. One, they need to breathe, and their heart
Okay.
should be beating. And beyond that, they should want something for themselves. And that can be literally anything. Because, all of us have developed habits, have developed beliefs to adapt to our early circumstance. And that has sort of created a box that we've lived in. And the possibilities for every one of us is so much greater than just what's in that box. And so if you want to become more than you are now, you are a great client.
That was a great closing. All right. I hope we got to everybody's question. If we didn't, that's also a good thing. It means that you need to continue and join our community. I'm going to give some wrap-up points, and then we'll stay on a little bit extra in case anybody has some questions still lingering, and we'll invite our panelists to stay on. But I just want to give an opportunity to officially close out our webinar and let you run if you need to. So it's just an online program, so really there's only one option. But we wanted to mention that there's a beautiful little community around MIU called Fairfield, and it's in Southeast Iowa. And so there are quite a few students who are studying online, but they actually live next to the university or on campus. And we wanted to make that available to you because it is sometimes very helpful to live in a supportive community, especially for establishing a meditation practice. So this is Fairfield, Iowa, and you can see a picture of the Golden Dome. That's where people practice the advanced techniques of meditation. And we want you to know that more than 90% of the university students receive extensive financial aid. And the next entry is August 2025. So this program has one entry per year. And then every page on our website has the apply button to make it very easy to submit your application. So if you want to interact with us further before you enroll or make a decision, we have more interactive webinars. Some are just general theme. We also have this option of the Visitor Saturday. The next one is April 5th. So you can come and spend a day with us. The very minimal registration fee, and then we provide lunch. And then once you are accepted to be a student, we want you to know that you can learn TM for free at any TM center. If you go to tm.org, they can help you find a local TM teacher. And finally, we want you to know about the webinar replay, so you can follow the QR code and access some of our past webinars. So that really concludes today's webinar. But like I said, we've been noticing that if we stay on a little bit longer, sometimes the really good stuff comes with the bonus content. So thank you for being a part of our webinar today. And panelists, if you need to go, we totally understand. But if you want to hang for a little bit, we can take additional questions. Is enrollment capped? When do the classes start?
When do classes start?
Yeah.
Well, it's different every year, but I don't have the calendar in my
That's okay.
head, but I think it's around August 19th, but I'm kind of just guessing. Maybe one
It's
of the
usually around then. Yeah.
one of
Okay.
the admissions people can say.
Yeah.
Oh, August 18th. Thank you very much from admissions.
Okay.
Henry,
Did we
we
mention
had
anything
our-
about the low residency part?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just going to address that. We do have an opportunity for the students to come together on campus, as one of the students mentioned, and we do a different workshop weekends, I think I would call them. And we do also have people from all over the world. So this year we have a student in the first year cohort who lives in South Africa. It's a lot to ask her to come to Fairfield, Iowa for a weekend. So she hasn't been able to join us yet, but she does participate by Zoom. So we give that option to people. So we'd love to have everybody come together, but if you can't make it for whatever reason, then you can join via Zoom.
Right. So the first one is over Labor Day. Well, for the EDD, it's a Labor Day weekend. It's a 3-day orientation, and then we're doing a 3-day orientation a week later for the master's program, both of which
Got
will
it.
be in Fairfield.
And also, like, on the consciousness side, what's handy about Fairfield and coming here is there's a local TM center. So sometimes it's easier for people to learn TM or advanced techniques by coming to Fairfield. We know that there aren't TM centers in every single city. So sometimes it's nice to coordinate ahead of time before you make a trip and see if the Fairfield TM Center can support you in any way. There's a question about transfer credit. I think there are some people here who already have a master's program, so they're trying to figure out if you can transfer. I think you already addressed that by saying, no, there's a sequence to everything and you have to just go from the start to the end.
Right. And just so everybody's clear, if you have a master's already, then the EDD may be the program for you, because that's a requirement to get into the EDD, that you have a master's degree in a related field. And if you don't have a master's degree, then the master's maybe is the place to start.
Okay, that makes it easy. Yeah. Okay, well, these are a lot of nuts and bolts questions. And first, you can continue from here by connecting with admissions counselor, and then they can get you started. So, thank you everyone for your time. And I was really, really moved by the student panelists. It's always the highlight. Thank you, Marcia, especially for chiming in at the end and telling us a very practical and weight example of how the coaching program is helping your other main profession. I think that was especially powerful. So thank you all. We're getting thank yous from participants as well. So yeah. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you in some capacity as a part of our community. All right. Okay, bye.